Hello, my name is Jim Moltzen, and today's topic is balance. Oftentimes we hear people saying they want to have balance in their life. So what does that mean? Balance in being able to not stumble, balance in being able to monitor their time, balance between their finances, their diet, their family. What does all this mean? So what I'm going to talk about is how exercise, and specifically Tai Chi or Qigong, yoga, those type of mind and body practices can help bring balance into your life. So there's these theories that have been around for thousands of years, that if you can discipline your mind, you can discipline your body. Well, they work together. By making your body do what your mind is telling it, you're also making the mind be conditioned to be disciplined. So I'm trying to make my body go into the different positions, means my thought is engaged. The more I'm trying to work on my body control, my balance, my strength, my flexibility, those same traits are being reflected back to my mind, my thoughts, and how I adjust to what challenges are in front of me. So we have balance, like I said, all the different balance of schedule and time and things like that. We also have balance in our bodies, which is very important, because if we don't have balance between the right and the left, the top and the bottom, the inside and the outside of our body, things get out of sync, out of calibration. And that's when we start to suffer from different diseases or chronic illnesses. For example, if you injure some part of your body, I injured my knee years ago, so I started to favor that side of my body to make sure that I wasn't injuring it or hindering it. So by doing that, my hips started to shift, and then my back shifted, my neck, my shoulders, everything started to get a little bit of a shift to it, which started to cause some discomfort because the whole structure started to adjust to that little bitty 7mm adjustment that I was favoring on that one side. So by practicing exercises that balance, you do something on one side, you got to do it on the other side. We hold the stances that we practice. It's all about the symmetry, keeping the body centered, keeping the body aligned. But if we do one side of the body, we have to make sure we complement it by doing the other side of the body. So we have that type of balance. Posture, left and right, top and bottom, front to back, in and out. We also have the physical balance, which, if we don't take care of the postural balance, will start to be more difficult as we get older. If you have a hard time staying on one leg now, as you continue to get older, it doesn't get better, and as time goes by. If anything, it gets worse, because the body starts to lose flexibility, lose strength. We start to lose awareness of where our center of gravity is at. Next thing you know, we're tripping over the carpet or curbs, or our pet, trying to get out of the way from the dog or the cat. So our balance is all connected to our posture, which is all connected to our thoughts being balanced. It's all one complete circle that everything connects to. So how do we do this? What do we do? What kind of exercises? Well, the best exercises to practice to develop physical or vestibular balance, that's the balance that's related to the water that's in your ears that kind of shifts back and forth to give us that sense of being upright. We have to try and do exercises that challenge us to lose our balance. So if we want to develop strength, you need to do things that challenge your strength. Flexibility, challenge your flexibility. To develop balance, so as not to fall or trip or feel off center, we need to practice exercises that work on our balance by losing balance or taking away the things that make us feel more stable. So I know this is a lot of talk, but just to kind of simplify it, we have flexibility between our hips and our torso to be able to adjust our center of gravity. That gives us a sense of balance. If we want to have strength in those areas too, so if your ankles, your knees, your hips, your back aren't strong, it's also hard to have that upright posture to keep your center of gravity where it's supposed to be. So then the third thing is awareness. That's self-awareness of knowing where that center of gravity is at, but it's also awareness to be looking outward. You don't want to be walking and looking at your steps like this as you're walking, because chances are you're going to run into something in front of you. So as we walk, we're looking outright. We're trying to look at our steps as we're walking so as to be aware of where we're stepping towards. So again, flexibility in the body to adjust the center of gravity, strength to hold the center of gravity in place, and then awareness of yourself, awareness of where you're going, keeping an eye on your surroundings. So to practice some exercises to work on balance, we got some very simple ones where you could hold on to a chair or table if you need to, and just shifting your weight from one side to the other. And trying to get, if we start off with 50% on each foot, we can shift. So where we get, feels like we have 80% on one leg, and then 80% of weight on the other leg. As this starts to get more comfortable and you decide that's fine, that's not that challenging, then you can get to where you're shifting and lifting the heel off the ground. So now I'm getting 90% of the weight on one leg and only 10% on the other one. You notice as I'm doing this, I'm sinking my center of gravity. So the lower my center of gravity is at, again, the more stable I am. Try to think of it like if I had a can of paint, and I'm going to stand on top of that can of paint. Well, if I put 2 cans of paint or 3 cans of paint, it's going to become more and more unstable as I get higher up. Plus my center of gravity is that much higher from the ground. So if I want to forget about the cans for the moment here, is sink from your navel, maybe about 3 inches below your navel, and about midway from the center to the back. That's where your natural center of gravity is at. So if I sink from my hips slightly and bend from my knees, that brings my center of gravity down slightly. So not that you're going to be walking around like that where you're sunken down, but when we practice these exercises, that is a way how to develop an awareness of where your center of gravity is at. So going back to that exercise, I shift and I sink the weight onto my hip. I keep the foot, the knee, and the hip all in the same plane. As I sink down, I'm trying not to get any lateral side-to-side movement. I'm trying just to sink down straight to keep those joints all aligned. Again, 90% of the weight's on the heavy leg, 10% on the light leg. If that's all fine, we can start to try to pick the leg up. So I shift my weight, I sink my center of gravity, and try to bring the knee joint up. That brings the hip up. Shift again, sink down, bring the leg up. So these exercises are not going to give you much benefit if you do them 1 or 2 times and then go, oh, okay, I can do it, I got it. No, I'm talking about doing it a minimum of maybe 10, just to kind of get the feel of doing it. And then you can maybe set the timer, set a kitchen timer, and do it for 5 minutes. By the time you get to about a minute, you're going to start feeling some strain in your legs, your calves, your quadriceps, your stomach muscles, the hip joint, the area where the hip and the thigh come together. You're going to start to feel those areas. And that is how you develop some strength by continuously doing it. Anything that's worthwhile having is going to take some effort. 1 or 2 times isn't going to do it. Once a week isn't going to do it. If you really want to make an effort to do it, you probably need to do it a few times a day for a few days a week over the course of a month. If you want to develop habits to do these exercises, usually it takes about anywhere from 20 to 60 to 80 days. So what are we looking at? That's anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple of months. It all depends on the individual and how much they put into doing it, how much they're committed to improving your balance or improving your strength, improving your flexibility. It's your body, so you're the one that's responsible for getting it to the next step. So let's go on to another exercise. We begin a lot of the exercises that we teach with martial arts and Tai Chi and Qigong. There's a progression of getting the feet in the right spot, getting the waist in the right spot, and then getting the arms to follow at the end. And that's very representative of a tree. You have the roots in the ground first, and then the trunk comes up, and then it spreads out into branches and leaves. And that's how the energy can move in the body too. We get it where we're pushing from our feet, we're directing with the waist, and we're expressing with the arms. So when we start to do it that way, we're actually getting some kinetic energy flow, kinetic movement in the body to get the blood moving from the feet, pushing the feet into the ground, push your feet into the hips, your hips push the torso, your torso moves the arms and shoulders. So it's kind of like a toothpaste being squeezed, and that's how you get the blood and the energy moving through your body. Coincidentally, that's how you start to develop a phenomenal amount of strength for self-defense. It's how a small person can defend themselves against a much greater adversary by moving the whole body with kinetic energy. So to get started on our exercise, we start with our feet together. This is kind of like the zeroed out position. I sink down both legs, both hips bend. I step up, so I got 90% of the weight on one leg, 10% on the other leg. and then I slide this foot out so I'm about double my shoulder width apart. And then I shift my weight to the opposite leg. Pull the leg in. So once again, 90% of the weight's on one leg, 10% on the other. Reach out, kind of like you're at a pool and you're trying to test the water with your foot. Put the toes in first, and then the foot goes flat. So I push with the feet, direct with the waist. Right now we're not really doing anything with the shoulders. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We'll keep adding on as we go. So if this is all fine, I got the leg coming in, 90% of the weight on one leg, this foot's kind of light, I'm going to turn my shoulders towards my right side. And then the leg goes down, I test the water, push with the feet, shift with the weight, with the waist, turn the shoulders towards the left side now. So I need my arms to be engaged now, so I'm going to bring them with. So I get the leg set, I get the torso twisting. I'm going to bring my right arm in front of my face. So right about now you're thinking, wow, what's going on? I got which leg going where, which arm is what, got the right, the left. If I turn around the other way, I'll give you a better orientation, but then you won't be able to see what the hand movements are. So I'm going to do it on this side to start. So got the legs right, got the waist turn, got the arm coming past. I go back, test the water, shift the weight, turn the torso. I'm going to make my hands into a triangle, and I'm going to push them towards the right side of my body. To get going again, feet, waist, arm in front of my face. It's actually in front of like my right shoulder. Test the water, push from the feet, direct with the waist, hands make a diamond or a triangle, and push to the side. So there should be some tension across your back or your neck, your shoulders, whatever the tightest is where you're going to feel it the most. So if this is all good, when I'm starting with the feet, instead of just letting this be 10% of weight on the ground, 90% the other leg, I'm going to try to lift the leg somewhat off the ground, as high as you can go comfortably. So I bring it up, set the foot down, test the water, shift the weight, finish with the arms coming across. So keeping the hands in that triangle shape might be a little too cumbersome right now. You might feel a little too tight. So let the hands separate. One hand goes to the wall, the other hand goes by the underarm. So to get started again, feet, waist, arms, lift the leg up, try to balance for a moment, feet, waist, arms. So I have the triangle, and the hands go apart. So once again, to get started, feet, waist, arms. Try and lift up. If you can only get it an inch off the ground, that's fine. You got to start somewhere with it, but if you can get it up higher and higher and higher, try and get it up high towards your elbow. Feet, waist, arms, feet, waist, arms, feet, waist, arms. So as this gets more comfortable, if you start to follow what we're doing, it's all one smooth motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So depending upon how we count it, it comes out to be 5 exercises or so, 5 parts. But really, it's all just one smooth motion flowing from one to the next. If this is all fine, we're going to add some arm and upper body movement with it. So I'm going to wave goodbye. When the arm comes in, it's like I got Velcro on my knee. The arm and the leg come up together. So I get the feet set, turn the torso, get the arms starting to move, feet, waist, arms. To go again, wave goodbye, Velcro on the knee, brings the leg in and up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave goodbye, dip your chin, let your whole spine round. Then the leg and the arm come up. 1, 2, touch down. 3, set it out. 4, shift your hips. 5, arm comes out. So again, wave goodbye. So this is kind of like the extra part. We don't start the count until here. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave goodbye. Dip your chin. Arm and the leg come up. That's 1. 2, set it down. 3, set the foot out. 4, shift your weight. 5, reach to the side. So I'm going to do it facing the other way. That might have been somewhat confusing, but at least you're able to see my hands. I'm going to go the other way, you're not going to be able to see my hands, but at least you'll have the orientation right. So I begin, feet together, shift the weight onto my right leg, left foot gets light, only 10%. Arm comes up. Turn your torso. So I set the foot out, shift the weight, shift the hips, right? Reach the arms to the side. So this all went back to that triangle shape that I was trying to keep my hands kind of together, but then they separate. So to go to the other side, wave goodbye. Dip your chin, round your back. That's where your leg comes in. Like I have Velcro on my knee. It comes up together, come down, turn the torso. Arms, you're just getting them kind of twisted and wound up so as to release as we get over to the side. So this hand will come in, wave like I'm painting on this wall right here. Circle the head, circle the spine, arm and the leg come up together. 1, 2 is come down. 3, test the water. 4, shift the weight. 5, hands separate and reach. Let's do one more time. Circle, head, spine, arm and the leg comes up. 1, 2 is come down and turn. 3, test the water. 4, shift the weight. 5, reach to the side. To finish this up, I take a deep breath. Inhale. Look to the left, down and out, exhale. Look to the right, inhale. Exhale, look straight up, inhale. Exhale, squish your stomach, pull your diaphragm back. Relax your arms and shoulders like you're pushing your hands down to the ground. Push the breath back and then out through your nose as you do the exhale. So the idea there is you're trying to control your breathing and just not breathe, randomly or haphazardly through your mouth like you're panting, but breathing all through your nose. So I didn't explain as we were doing it, but really it's pretty much like a 4 count. We inhale, we take about 4 seconds. Exhale takes about 4 seconds. Inhale. Exhale. So when we start to breathe deep like that, 4 count to breathe in, 4 count to breathe out, that gets us down to 7.5 breaths per minute. Anything below 10 breaths per minute activates the parasympathetic response, so the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a fancy long word for basically saying that your body is more ready to rest and digest instead of fight or flight. When we breathe deep, as we're doing the exercises, there's a bunch of bodily functions that start to adjust and change. They kind of trick our mind into thinking that we're asleep or we're resting and we're regenerating. And consequently, your blood pressure is lowered, your breathing gets deeper, your heart rate slows, the blood chemistry changes. The blood chemistry changes to be more for healing or for growth instead of the stressful blood chemistry, which is cortisol and adrenaline. The death hormones basically that make your body start to react and feel as if it's constantly on the go or in that flight or fight mode where you constantly have to be on alert. So again, deep relaxed breaths is what we're going for. The balance is strength, flexibility, which is your range of motion, and awareness of what your body's doing, where your center of gravity is at, where you're trying to move your body towards. Another very important part is the body alignments. as we're doing this, the whole time I'm trying to keep my body somewhat, upright, where my head, my skull is over my tailbone. Occasionally I might bend forward when I'm doing the rounding movement, I'm moving my back, but for the most part, the head is over the tailbone. I'm trying to be aware of which side has the weight on it. My hips, my knee, my ankle, for the most part, are always lined up when we do these type of movements, side to side. Try not to have any lateral movement with the knee joint. That's not good. The knee's not strong in that position. We try not to have our knee go over our toes. Too much weight over the toes puts a lot of strain on the knee joint. So I'm keeping my knee above my ankle, keeping the foot, the knee, the hip in the same line, and then the spine, keeping the head over the tailbone for the most part. So that's just a short lesson. It takes a little bit of time. You got to put in the effort to do it, and anything that's worth achieving is going to take some effort. If you want to have good balance as you continue to age, you need to put in the effort. You can't just wait until you're tripping over curbs or tripping over your dog and then decide, oh, maybe it's time I start to work on my balance. It's something you should be doing all along with your healthcare program, with your physical fitness program, with your mental well-being program. Balance your life, balance your body, balance your awareness. Take care.